name is Matthew DeVal. I'm the president of International Suicide Prevention. I've dedicated my life to helping those who are suicidal, finding out what it is that causes us to become suicidal, and supporting the family members and friends of those who've lost somebody to suicide. If you can see how the information I'm about to give you, or you hear something that can be beneficial to you, or you feel that as a result of watching this, your life will be different, consider contributing something to ISP. Why do people commit suicide? People commit suicide either as a result of a long-term depression or as a knee-jerk reaction to a situation that seems impossible to solve. Now the second one is usually, an example would be you losing your job after 5 years or 20 years or 50 years, or you get divorced, or the top two reasons why people would consider suicide are relationships and finance. Now we know for a fact, due to statistical data, that when a life-changing situation takes place in any individual's life, that in order to process the change that has taken place, they need to have 48 hours. And if they're not accepting the new normal after 48 hours, then they need to seek professional help. It's real crucial in the first 48 hours that somebody's there with a good friend, a family member is with the individual after losing a job or after finding a relationship is coming to an end. Not to give advice, but just to be there as a support mechanism that it's going to be okay, that no matter what happens, that they will go on, they will survive, and that they have some sense of security, commonality, as a result of a long-term depression. Now that is something that has come about as a result of an emotional state that is ongoing and continual, to the point of where the individual will do anything to stop the cycle. Now, depression can come in many ways. It can come as a result of a childhood situation, like say they were molested as a child, or they were beat, or they experienced and witnessed the death of a parent or a relative or some individual, and it was very traumatizing to them. Again, this goes back to P.T.S.D, post-traumatic syndrome. I know we've talked in the industry a lot about post-traumatic syndrome in the military, and PTSD can happen to anybody. And what PTSD is, in essence, is you're going along, like I am right now in this car, driving along, and say I'm following some friends in front of me, and we're having a good time. I'm listening to Whitney Houston. Boom, just listening, feeling good. All of a sudden I see them have a horrific car crash in front of me, and they all died. Now I go through the funeral, I experience the grieving process, all that. And then 10 years from now, a Whitney Houston song comes on, and I get depressed to the point of where I'm suicidal. I know that's a simplification of what PTSD is, but it can be anything. It could be any sensory perception that was taking place at the time of the trauma. This could be the smell, what I was tasting at the time, what I was hearing, what I was feeling. If I was feeling a certain emotion like joy, every time I got joyful, I'd get depressed. It would be like a crash. That's post-traumatic syndrome. Sometimes, most times, people don't understand what the association is with the PTSD and the situation. And the best way to deal with PTSD is through what I've found out through what we do at ISP is either neuro-linguistic programming or hypnosis. Now, these have been highly effective with 100% success rate and no reoccurring post-traumatic syndrome symptoms just afterwards. Sometimes being is not pleasant. The life experience can be horrible. The way we treat each other can be horrible. We lack compassion, sympathy, and empathy in this culture. Showing compassion to others is just part of this experience. What am I about? I'm about quality of life. A quality of life that every single man, woman, and child deserves and is capable of while they're here on this planet. And we have baggage, issues that we carry on with us that don't go away. The only thing that holds us back in this life is us. After reviewing the tapes that I'm creating, documenting my findings and results, my gift to you is a quality of life that you deserve. The little voices in your head, the little voices that say things like, you're fat, you're stupid, you're never gonna be anything. Who am I? How can I do that? All the things that you say to yourself that were hardwired into your brain by the age of 6 are issues that were somebody else's issues, not yours. Wouldn't you just love to have those little voices be quiet forever? Everything we do in this life, everything we do in this life is preceded by an image in our head. Open now, your eyes and your hands.
I feel kind of tingly.
Sensations.
I do feel like some kind of tingling in my temples.
All right. If you could say your name.
My name is Mimi Holiday. I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana. This is my first time meeting with Matthew.
And are you related to Doc?
Holiday?
Yes.
I wish I could say yes. Actually, my dad's side of the family is from California, and growing up, I always hoped that we would find some kind of relation, but I don't believe there is.
That's a pretty unique name. That's why I
Yeah,
asked.
it is unique.
You've had a couple of pretty traumatic events in your life.
Yes.
If you can explain a little bit about that.
I would say the two most traumatic events would be the suicide of my mother, and then 2 years following the suicide of my brother.
In an email that you had thought about suicide.
Yeah.
You know, this is a natural process
Yes.
of humans.
I
have
felt
that.
suicidal thoughts very young. I mean, 5th grade probably would have been
What
the first
was
time.
the thing that you
Just
could put
pressure.
your finger on?
The
that would-
reason?
Yeah, I mean, was there like an event? Was there?
Yeah, it probably had to do with peer problems. You know, there's a lot of pressure being a kid with fitting in and being friends. And
Now, are those feelings? Do they reoccur? Like,
I think the suicidal thoughts have always been in the back of my mind, and it just depends on how severe the situation that I'm experiencing is that causes that.
because it's actually what it is you have an event, like say another girl's harassing you at school,
Right.
and there's things going on in the background your subconscious is picking up on, like a song, or it's a sunny day, or it's cloudy, or whatever's going on. There's a smell or something, and now in your life, when that thing reoccurs, like another one of your senses senses something that was similar to that event, it'll trigger that feeling you get.
Right.
So just so you know, that is post-traumatic syndrome. It's
Yeah, I
not,
can't-
you don't have to be in ward to have post-traumatic syndrome.
I can't say that there is an actual event that I experienced before the first time that I thought suicide that I feel was traumatic, but I'm sure that there was. Just looking at the behavior of my mother and my father, who divorced when I was very young, but there was also always a lot of problems, you know, with the divorce and the fighting and the anger and the verbal abuse that all going on when I was so young. You know, I think they divorced when I was 3 or 4.
Well, can you put your finger on some?
I can't think of an
What
exact
about
event before
when you were
5th grade.
suicidal?
Okay.
Can you put your finger on the emotional state you were in at that time?
Very sad.
Yeah. Can you recall that? I mean, can you in your mind?
I can
you,
think about where I was standing. I was standing in my kitchen in front of my refrigerator, and I remember exactly where I was, and I remember how I felt, and
Good. That's what I want to work on.
yeah.
And that's not useful to you. Those feelings are not useful.
No, they're not.
Okay, because what I'm going to do is I'm actually
They're
going
bad for
to. Our brain is basically a electrical device, and we store memories. And I'm not going to take any memories away from you that of experiences. What I'm going to do is I'm going to help you remove the emotions attached to experiences, like when you were sad. That experience, you'll still have the experience of you standing there in the kitchen, but you won't have a emotional attachment to it any longer.
Right.
I don't know if you understand the difference. When you think about that experience, you get sad.
Right.
And after what I'm going to help you through this exercise, you won't get sad when you think about that experience into it, because we all have emotions. When you had that experience, you spiked emotionally.
Right.
You had a spike, and what that does is it's an electrical charge, and it's a negative energy. And right around your ears, right above your ears is where we store our emotions, the memories of things that happen, and the attachment to them. And you're going to experience a little bit of a sensation. Some people say it's like melting. Other people, it's kind of like like when you pour milk in water and seeing it go through. That's what the experience of that's going to be what it feels like in your head. I need you to recall 4 experiences that were extremely positive in your life.
Okay. I think the most positive that I can refer back to is being accepted to Virginia Commonwealth University in Richmond, Virginia.
And what did that feel like?
It felt great. It felt like hope, and I could see the light at the end of the tunnel for where my path was supposed to be going. I felt like, God had put all of these things in my path to help me to discover my purpose, and I really felt that everything leading up to that was a miracle.
Great. And what's another one?
Well, I guess part of that but is also its own in itself, is the family, taking me in and being a part of their unit, and feeling that I was part of a family again, feeling love and a sense
Again,
of
or
security.
for the first time, you feel like you're
Probably for the first time, yeah.
This is a real family.
Yeah. And then third, a really strong happy moment for me was buying my condo. When I sold my house in Louisiana and I bought my condo in Richmond, Virginia, it was the first time. Not only was I so young to have made such a purchase and be doing positive things in my life, but it was the first time that I could go somewhere that was quiet and there was no chaos, no violence, no threat. It was just a sacred, quiet sanctuary place that I had to go that was peaceful, and that was the first time I'd ever experienced that.
Okay. And one more.
Well, I've recently been accepted into another school, Fashion Institute Design and Merchandising in Los Angeles, and I start in October. And they awarded me a partial scholarship for my story and my previous grades, and
so that feels pretty good too.
It feels great, but it also makes me be thankful of all of the things that I've overcome, and it also makes me feel like all of the tragic things that have happened I've somehow turned into this great thing that I feel can inspire others.
Great. Okay. So are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. So this is a very simple exercise.
Great.
And so all you have to do basically is follow my instructions completely. So you're going to be putting your hands out in front of you like this, palms open. Make sure you're on camera. So this is unusual, a place that I'm doing this at, but I've done it in some pretty strange places, so it works every time.
Okay.
So close your eyes, and are you right or left hand?
I'm right.
Okay, in your right hand, I want you to picture that dark moment in your life when you felt suicidal. I want you to really get into this, though. I mean, to the point where it could actually cause you to relive that moment. And when you've got all that emotional pain, the experience, when you've got it, you grab it with your right hand, and you get it in your hand and you hold that hand tight. But you got to get right back in that moment where you're standing in your kitchen in that desperation, feeling lost. You got it. You close that hand on all those emotions and you hold it. Don't open that hand until I tell you to. Just open your eyes and spell your last name backwards.
Y-A-D-A-L-O-H.
Great, close your eyes. Now, I want you to picture in your left hand those moments you talked about. You're being accepted into the college in Virginia. You're getting a condo, feeling like family. All that really wonderful, good feelings you had, picture them in your left hand. Just getting accepted into this new fashion school. When you've got that, close tight on that with your left hand. Okay, now keep your hands closed, open your eyes, and I want you to tell me your social security number backwards. Close your eyes. Okay. Now, just like there's good and bad in this world, it's a proven fact that there's that light will always overcome darkness. And I'm going to count to 5, and you're going to, when I say now, open your hands and your eyes simultaneously, and you're going to let go, and you're going to have this feeling come through your mind that's going to wash away these emotional experiences that were negative and stored in your brain. 1, 2, open now, your eyes and your hands. It's a weird sensation. It's hard to describe. It doesn't take away from your memories other than it detaches your emotional state that was spiked in your memory. Now try to remember when you were suicidal in your kitchen. I know you can remember the experience, but it doesn't have the impact on you any longer. It's tough to recall the negative energy that was attached to that. Did you feel any weird sensations?
I do feel like some kind of tingling in my temples. I mean, I definitely feel like I feel like a lightness.
Yeah, that's common with this as well. Obviously, I mean, this is more geared to people that are experiencing some trauma immediately, and that's
what I was gonna say.
It's hard to get this on tape because they're experiencing extreme trauma, and I put my full attention on it. I do want to thank you for your candidness and helping me with this, because I do want to get this on film. But can you describe any more about what your sensation is now afterwards?
I mean, I feel kind of lightheaded.
It's going to take a little bit to process this, because
yeah.
It usually takes about 24 hours to fully process what's happened.
Right.
You kind of feel like somebody took a...
racing a little bit
yeah,
through
it's
all
still
the
going to be going.
that I was imagining, so it's, I think that...
Yeah, it's not a done process, just so you know. It wasn't like done. It's going through your mind right now, and saying, you know, like a chalkboard, and you're erasing.
I'm anxious to see, you know, how I react when something does trigger that scent or color or memory that causes my emotions to spike, to see, so that I have something to compare it to.
Yes.
But I definitely feel that it was an intense experience, you know, when I had my hands open and I was imagining all those things. I felt that I could pick out those experiences very quickly, but then after I opened my hands to release them, I felt like my brain was kind of racing very quickly through all of those images.
Very quick. I want to thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And to prove that I was here, I want to be on camera. There I am. It's Matthew DeVell, President of International Suicide Prevention. And I want to thank Mimi again for her time. And that will conclude this session.